All right, I'm gonna get started in just a second. So, anybody who, if you're catching me right here, this is the logical conclusion of is love, and thank you for taking the time to watch this. Well, I'll be talking for a few minutes just about a quick subject that came up this morning. So let me get some things in order here. Let's see, this basically cleaning house. All right, setting things up, setting things up. And away we go. I want to start doing this more regularly. So look forward to that. Hello world out there. Okay, let me go ahead and get started. I don't want to waste too much time here. Well, it looks like I don't have anybody watching right now, so that's fine. I'll have to cut this part out. So now we're live. Hi, welcome to The Logical Conclusion is Love. I'm Big Brother Rod, the warrior and the scholar. And today I'm going to talk about something that, an idea I had that might be a good solution that maybe help some people out. I was actually listening to Alexa this morning, and I usually listen to my flash briefing. And one of the first things that pops up was the women's soccer team. They've settled part of a lawsuit they've had against the Soccer Federation, and it was basically because they're looking for equal pay. Now, the women's soccer team they're not slouches. They've been kicking butt. They're champions, world champions. The men's soccer team didn't even make the cut to get into the playoffs and everything. So they are speaking with authority in their voice, if you know what I mean. And that's a good thing. But basically, they want equal pay. But they weren't able to settle with them on some things. So what are they getting there? They're getting they no longer have to play on home games, no longer have to play on turf, which the men never had to play on turf, but the women do, or they did. Now they don't have to. That's good. Um, they have equal accommodations when it comes to flights. That's awesome. They'll get charter flights just like the men did. They'll stay at better hotel rooms, so their accommodations will be better. I mean, these are all good things, and I'm glad they're getting those things. But the number one reason they're excited about this is because now that they've got these things out of the way, they can appeal something that was thrown out earlier where they were trying to get equal pay. And they're definitely going to appeal it. I don't know if it's going to happen that way, but what I want to talk about, because this is the logical conclusion, is love. And we believe in putting logic towards the situation, but not cold logic. It's got to be logic with consideration and care. So another way to possibly get this goal accomplished for them, I think, would be to, let's see, basically there's two reasons. I think I just in the last 5 seconds came up with a third. And let me show you what I'm talking about here. Let me share my screen over here. So this is the screen that, is this supposed to be highlighted like that? I don't think it should be. Oh, it's not. Okay, cool. So this is the screen where, their soccer team settles part of the gender discrimination suit. Excuse me, sorry. Part of the suit. This is a good day. I hope everyone sees that we are a new U.S. Soccer President Cindy Parlow-Cone told reporters in a press conference. So yeah, this is all good stuff. But okay, now back to my possible solution of how they could possibly get this done. So solution number one, and it sounds crazy, but do away with all women's sports. Stop separating the two. If you want the playing field to be equal, lay it out there for everybody. If you make that team, you get paid to be on that team and for your performance. I mean, even if you look at the men's basketball teams, everybody's not getting paid what LeBron James gets paid. There are people who get league minimums. So if you're able to get to that point and actually compete against your peers, and if you do away with the women's team and you do away with any sexual limitations on who can try out for different teams, something to reconnect. Okay, we're up. Okay, and you do away with any limitations on who can try out for. view dashboard. What is happening? Update successfully. Broadcast has been updated. Am I still okay? I'm still going. Okay. Do away with any discrimination between the teams. Then women can try out. And I'm not saying every woman's going to make the team, but maybe a lot of them will. And maybe they'll beat some men out for those positions. I'm sure there's a few that can beat men out for those positions. And those women will get the equal pay that those men get. I mean, I think that's fair. Now, if you don't want to do away with women's sports, if you think that's a purity that you want to have, women's sports is pure, men's sports is pure, cool. There's another way. The second way I would say is look at, instead of going to the soccer federation and saying, hey, you pay them this much, you need to pay us this much. Make it so they can't say no. And the way you do that is you go to the fans. You make the money generate from the fans. So when you get to the point where you have women walking in the streets wearing the female soccer jerseys, men walking in the streets wearing the female soccer jerseys, the seats are always filled. Crowd, they're bringing in the same millions of dollars that the men's teams are bringing in. If you have that situation and then you go to them and say, hey, you're paying them this much, we're not getting paid that much, they would look like total buttholes to not pay you the same amount. There's no way that you would fail. There's no ethics or anything they can look at. They just say, okay, look, yeah, it makes sense. So if you don't want to do away with all women's sports and then have everybody competing on the same team, then you make sure that you push the fans, because that's where the money's really coming from. And there's no limit to the amount of money that can be there, right? The advertising, all these different things, you push the fans to support. And we have to look at ourselves as fans too. Like, make sure that we're valuing women's sports as much as we're valuing the men's sports. I mean, people have different excuses for what they watch and why they watch it, but it doesn't make a difference. If you value the sports the same, then the pay will be the same. So that's not on any soccer federation, NFL, WNBA, NBA, none of that. It's on the fans, because we have to support and make sure that we're giving equal support to men and women. Yeah, it shouldn't be where, you're supporting the men and now they have to pay to support the women through that whole system. It doesn't make sense. If you're making $10 billion from one team and $1 million from another team, the $10 billion team should get more. The $10 billion organization should get more. So that's my thought on that. And that's not saying that it can't happen. It can't happen. It's just that's a way to make sure it does happen. And then the last thing I thought about actually just came to me about, I swear, a couple of minutes ago. I was sitting here and I was like, well, because of the situation that we're looking at right now, where the women's soccer team are world champions, right? You implement something in their pay structure where if they get those high accolades and if teams are getting there and they're getting raised up. Now, this is a little different from maybe the WNBA, where they have a bunch of different teams and they have their own, championships and everything like that. But with the women's soccer and the men's soccer, generally, I think there's only one team, one U.S. women's team, one U.S. men's team. I don't know a lot about soccer, but if they just put it in your contract where if you win championships, your pay gets bumped up to the $1 million range or whatever it is. There's got to be some equitable way to show, okay, well, maybe you should get paid a hell of a lot more because you're the world champion versus men just being men and playing soccer. So that's the way to think about it too. I mean, all in all, I just think it's a fair way to attempting to reconnect. All in all, I think it's a fair way to distribute the funds. There's no limit to money out there. They can always print more, and we're constantly spending it. So there's no reason they can't get equal pay, but there's just different ways to get there. You don't want to look like babies crying like, just give me what you gave them no matter what, because a team is an asset and it's supposed to generate money. And if you're not generating as much money, then that becomes a problem business-wise. So we got to look at that logically and look at it from the owner's perspective, where you're not taking money out of men's team's pocket who are generating the money to just give it to the other side. I mean, but maybe that's what people want. I don't know. Hopefully that doesn't come across as misogynist. Hopefully that doesn't come across as, sexist in any way. I love women. I love, everybody. But if it does, it's just my humble opinion. I'm Big Brother Rod, and I look at things with a little bit of logic, or maybe a lot of logic and a little bit of love, or sometimes a lot of love and a little bit of logic. But I like to have both. I'm usually pretty much a center person. So if you like this talk, if you don't like this talk, please let me know why in the subscription. If you agree, if you disagree, please let me know why down in the links below. Yeah, this is if you want to hear more of this stuff, just let me know. Let me know in the links below. I'll come on more often and talk about this type of stuff. I also talk a little bit about finance. I'm also talking about the Master Key system. That's the next series I'm going to put out. And that's a very, very intense system that shows you how to get everything that you want in life. And I'm walking through the steps. I'm going through the steps myself. And it's funny because it's something I've actually been using my whole life and didn't really realize what was happening. But sometimes, when things are just happening for you and like, oh, they line up. I've been doing this and now I understand it. So it's going to be more useful to me. And I want to be able to share that with the world because I can't be the only one that gets everything I want. It's got to be about helping other people get what they want. That's kind of the big secret behind the secret. If you can help people get what they want, you get what you want. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. If you want to, please like, please subscribe, please share this video. Please, if it's something you think might help somebody or change somebody's perspective, maybe give them a better day, share it. All right. Well, that's all I have right now. Again, like and subscribe. I'm Big Brother Rod with Rodney Cameron Media and Technology, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. They should really stop that and end.